Hi, and welcome to another session on cells. But whenever we do cells, we should also think about not only what they look like, but how they work. And this is one of the things we're looking at today. As you can see, our session today is on a thing called diffusion. Now, I put the picture of a diffuser, or many of you might have seen those at home, where you have some strong chemical and you put a reed in the top of it, and the reed moves up through it and then becomes a smell that permeates through the house. All right, that's an example of diffusion. Probably the best and easiest one I can think of is when someone's doing some cooking, and you don't have to be in the kitchen to know what's being cooked because you can smell it. Now that's another example of diffusion, where you've got the smells are able to spread out. So if you like, diffusion is about how things spread out. Now let's think about some things we know about cells already. Cells basically are see-through, and that's really good because it allows us to look at them quite clearly using a microscope. If they weren't see-through, the light wouldn't be able to come through them, and then we'd have all these problems. Now, because they're see-through, we have to put little stains or little colours on them to highlight certain sections we want to see. Now, the reason they're transparent or clear is because they're mainly water. All right? And what we find is that the little bits, as it says here, the little bits and pieces in the cell float around in the water. Yeah, they sure do. But some of them are also anchored in place. There are these little if you like, scaffolds or little areas like mooring pontoons where they can sort of stay for a little while. More about that when we do the structure of the cell. Now, the important thing is here that we know, like us, cells need nutrients coming in and they need to be able to remove wastes. Now, most of the stuff that comes in and goes out, as it says here, are soluble in water. In other words, they can move into the water and move with the water. Probably two of the most important things are these gases. One is called oxygen, and that is used by all living things to respire and give the living thing the energy it needs to do what it needs to do. Now, a lot of times when we're respiring, we make carbon dioxide, so it's a waste. So we need to excrete it. So that's a good thing that we can dissolve them in water. Now, if we think about it, it happens in us too. Our blood is mainly water, and we know that to get to where it's needed in our muscles, oxygen goes into our lungs, dissolves into the blood, then the blood carries it to the muscles, then the muscles release carbon dioxide, the blood carries that back to the lungs, and we breathe it out. Now, while cells don't have lungs, they have to do a similar sort of thing. So we could use cells to help us do that. But what's that got to do with diffusion? Well, in most cases, things don't get spaced out evenly. And as we can see here, we've got two things going on. We've got on one side in the yellow, we've got all these purple dots, and the other side we haven't got many. Now what will actually happen is diffusion comes along and will try to make the number on the yellow and the number on the green the same. All right, so it's a little process that works with that. Now the good part is it doesn't require energy, so we don't have to do anything to do it. It just does it by itself. So we could say that it's a movement of stuff from where there's a lot of it to where there's not much of it. Hence I've drawn the red arrow here. That's showing me what it looks like at the start. After diffusion, we see that if we count the number of dots here and the number of dots here, they're the same. So it'll stop. It won't need to do any more because we've got equal amounts on there. Now this little thing here that I'll put in the middle between the yellow and the green is, in cell terms, the cell membrane. Now, more about that in a minute, where we learn about a special type of diffusion. But that's how we're going to start, and that's where we're going to leave it now.